Hello, my name is Isaiah Centeno. I am here bringing my persuasion speech for session five for the oral communications class. I decided to choose my topic on bringing prayer and the Bible back into schools. It was a tough subject to choose because again there is so much that goes into this, and it may be controversial. Some people may not agree. Some might not agree. But I hope that going over this this speech, that maybe you can think more about bringing prayer and the Bible back into schools in your own perspective. This may be something that may never change. This may be something that could go back to what it used to be, back when I'm going to show you when they decided to take prayer and Bible back the Bible and prayer out of schools. A little bit about my story. In second grade, we had a show and tell going on, and I didn't know what to do, didn't know what to bring. At the time is when I started to play the drums. Again, I've always liked playing the drums. I fell in love with the drums when I was 2 years old. From two until now, the drums are my first love ever. And I decided, why not? Why not bring my drumsticks with me? I couldn't bring my whole drum set with me because it was too big to bring, But I decided to do that. But I also decided, because I've been in church my whole life, I wanted to be able to bring my Bible with me as well. So I brought my Bible and I brought my drumsticks with me. As I was taking my drumsticks out and my Bible, my teacher at the time, she says, "You can take your drumsticks out, but you cannot take your Bible out." Now, at the time, I didn't realize why I couldn't bring my Bible out. I never really asked either. But, I was a little hurt. I can remember at the time that I wasn't able to bring my Bible out because I wanted to share how much I loved going to church at the time, and just, maybe I can be honest, at the time I didn't know too much about the Bible, just as, the children lessons that I've learned up until that point. But again, it was just one thing that I wanted to show as a child at 8 years old, what, I could show and tell, you know. And I remember at the time too is that every single day morning, my mother would pray with my siblings, my brother, my sister, and I before we went off to school. And it was something that we did for such a long time. And we thank God that we were able to not go through anything tragic while we were in school. And we would like to believe that it was because God was looking over us at that time and just protected us as we went to school, you know? And it's very tough. It's very tough for an 8-year-old to hear that you cannot do something. As we all know, it's very tough, but we try to, keep going, and, we do what we got to do. And I remember still showing my drumsticks at the time, and, again, being happy with what I was able to bring. But again, I wasn't able to bring what I wanted to fully. The terrible thing, unfortunately, that we've seen happen in the schools is bullying. We've seen suicide with teenagers, adults, and we've also been seeing suicide rates go up in people in younger generations. People, kids that are 8, 9 years old. Something that's very tragic to hear when an 8 or 9 year old is taking their own life because of bullying, because of so many other things that are happening in the schools now. We see drugs and alcohol going on in school. I remember when I was in middle school and high school, how I would hear a lot of the people around me who, again, were my age, 13, 14, 15, 17, that were drinking, smoking weed, doing all these types of drugs, and thinking it was so cool. And again, it's just because God was not in school, not a main priority. The only thing that you heard about God in the schools was when we did our the 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 I pledge allegiance in the schools. And unfortunately, one of the biggest things too is that we've seen so many school shootings happen. And I'm gonna speak on two. So many school shootings happen that they shouldn't. Maybe there weren't many deaths, but there was too many deaths. There was one too many deaths, one too many people that got hurt in these. And again, it's so much that has happened ever since that they took the Bible and prayer out of schools. John 12:48 says, "The one who rejects me does not receive my words, has a judge. The word that I have spoken will judge him on the last day." The purpose of Jesus' first coming was to establish connection between man and God. That was the main reason why Jesus came, for us to have that relationship with God. And again, if we don't have that relationship with God, we don't have that peace, we don't have that joy that we can have when we have that relationship with God, the same relationship that we can have if the prayer and Bible were in the schools. We believe that possibly not many tragedies would happen, not much negative things would happen in the schools if the Bible and the prayer were still in schools. Two landmark decisions, as of Lawrence says in Engel versus Italian, June 25th, 1962, and Abington School District versus Shep on June 17th, 1963. The Supreme Court declared school-sponsored prayer and Bible readings constitutional. Unfortunately, ever since then, and really, the argument, there were school shootings, there were tragic things that happened before these two events that happened in schools. It could be argued, but there were so many that were taken after. So many that I wish I can touch base on in this speech, but I couldn't. We will talk about two main factors: one that was very recent, one that was not so recent. That again, there were lives taken because of the fact that possibly because of the prayer in Bible were taken out of the schools. Two well-known school shootings. Unfortunately, in 1999, we saw one of the most infamous shootings that happened, Columbine, where there were 13 people killed, plus uh, plus the two that actually ended up, unfortunately, killing themselves at the same time. This is one of the most infamous school shootings to ever happen before 2000, and I don't remember it that much, but I have seen many documentaries on it, and it's just so tragic. Knowing the backgrounds of these two students, I forget their names, but again, there were 13, 15 people that did not need to lose their lives at all. And yes, I am including those two that ended up killing themselves after doing the tragic thing that they did, but it didn't need to happen. And again, there was 20 others that got wounded. So you're talking about 35 people altogether whose lives changed because of this event. And one that was most recent was on February 14th, 2018, where 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz went into the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School and killed 17 people. One of the most tragic days. I forget, it was on a Valentine's Day 3 years ago. I forget what they named it. But again, this was such a big story because of the tragic event that happened, because this young man went into the school, and who knows who knows the backstory. There's so many stories. Who knows why he did it exactly? Nobody will ever know the real truth. Whatever he says, who knows? We will never know. But these are just two out of the many events of school shootings that have happened, very infamous school shootings that happened after the 1962 and 1963 decisions of taking the Bible and prayer out of the schools and ruling them unconstitutional. Possible solutions. Again, I thank God because of the decision that my mother made to pray with my siblings and I before we went to school. We thank God that we never were in tragic events where there were shootings. We were never bullied while we were in school. Nothing like this. And again, it was because of God protecting us while we were there, possibly having mercy and grace over others, because there were most likely other believers in that school as well, where their parents were praying with them before they came to school. I know many actually that their parents actually prayed with them. I do remember, because there were others that went to school at the time. The second, continue to spread the gospel to those who are willing to hear, because you never know. You never know. If you don't preach the gospel, if you don't continue to teach the gospel to those, how will they know to not? How will they know to pray with their kids before going to school? So God can protect them, send angels around them while they're there, and to have grace and mercy on those that are also in those schools. Now, many will say that these two solutions, and there's many other solutions, they may be like, look, this is not scientifically backed. This is based off of what I can say for my own experience. Again, I thank God that I know that I myself was never in a um, tragic event that where there was people killed. Yes, unfortunately, there were drugs or alcohol, something that there wasn't, but there was never school shootings, as I mentioned in this speech. While I was in a school, in middle school, high school, elementary school, never had to go through that, and I thank God for that. Push. We got to keep pushing. That's one of the biggest things that I like to say. Again, I mentioned praying before going to school, praying before you go to work, anywhere that you may go, because you never know what's going to happen. To push, pray until something happens. Prayer is something that I've been taught since a young age to continue to pray until God actually answers. And that's how we have to continue. Those believers that believe in the power of prayer, that's how we can find a solution and continue to move forward. From 2009 to 2019, again, this is only 20 years, and it's 59 years ever since the first decision of ruling prayer in the Bible and constitutional. 180 school shootings, 356 victims. Who is to say that with leaving prayer, leaving the Bible into school, there could be 180 less school shootings, 356 more people that are in the world alive today if the Bible and prayer were still in schools. Luke 10:27 says, and he answered, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. As you continue to show love to people because of you having God into your life, you can shine that light on those that are in darkness because of the mercy and the grace that God has on you, and he can also have on those that may be in darkness. Shine bright to those in the darkness. They will also see. And we pray and pray and pray that by shining that light, many other people will see that this could possibly be a solution to ending all these school shootings, to possibly lessen bullying, to hopefully one day get rid of it, to stop drugs and alcohol coming into the schools. We cannot know unless we actually continue to pray, 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 continue to read the Bible every single day of our lives. And we hope one day that these school shootings will end soon into the future. We thank you. I thank you for watching this lesson, this speech, and I hope you take something away. And I hope that one day we can stop these events from happening. Thank you so much.